What's going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with some more Vampire Survivors content. And today we're going to be talking about 5 things that I wish I knew before my first run of Vampire Survivors, because I'm sure there are still constantly a ton of new people playing this game or people who are interested that it might be very confused when they first get into the game. So might as well make a little video to maybe help with that very first run. And it is very specifically for the first run, but I'll talk more about that later. Regardless, make sure you check the links down below as always. If you want to see me do some Vampire Survivors live, there's a ginormous update coming very, very soon. So if you want to see that live, check out the link down below, as well as a bunch of other really fun games. Same thing here on the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to see everything new on Vampire Survivors, like I said, huge update coming soon. You're going to want to be subscribed to the channel, and you want to turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on the game, as well as, once again, plenty of other fun, cool, and exciting games that we're going to be playing. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's video. I always forget to do the overlay refresh before I start recording. It's very professional. So, obviously, I've played many runs, but when you start playing the game, you're going to get hopped in on the Mad Forest with this character, Antonio. So you'll load in, and boom, right away, hop in. I'm not going to have anything extra on, and this is what starts happening. Well, kind of. I'm going to make this as realistic as possible. Here's what we're going to do. Refund everything. Boom. Because you're not going to have any power-ups. So you have this one whip going, and on this character specifically, the whip will go whatever direction you're facing until you level it up. And at the start, the goal is to just go around, kill some enemies, grab some XP, level up, and when you level up, you get these options of different weapons and or passives. So let's say, you know what, let's go ahead and take this magic wand. Seems pretty cool. And you might notice in the upper left on the screen, there is some, it's showing you your different items, and there are 12 different categories. Now, that doesn't mean you can just take 12 of whatever you want. Something that I thought you could do when I first started playing, but is not the case. What it means is you can take 6 and 6. So 6 weapons and 6 passive items. Now, towards the end of this, with the very last tip that I'm going to give, I'll have a giant list that has all of the weapons. Well, has a good chunk of weapons and passives. I don't want to go through each and every one because I feel like that's something that's kind of fun to explore. But what I will do is give a tip on how you know after you take one if it's a weapon or a passive. Sometimes the description is pretty easy to tell, but the guaranteed way to tell is, if you look at the upper left, you can see right now everything we have is on the top row. So everything in the top row is considered a weapon, and everything in the bottom row is considered a passive. So one little tip for you there on your weapons and how you're going to be playing and whatnot. Next tip, as we can get a good example of it here, most of the enemies are normal. This enemy right here is highlighted and obviously is taking a significantly longer amount of time to kill than most other enemies, and that is because that is considered a almost mini boss type of thing. And as you can see now, we get the tome, which is a passive and goes in the bottom row. So top row weapons, bottom row passives. So the mini bosses have a chance to drop a chest. It is not guaranteed, but they have a chance to drop a chest, which is this thing that you can see right here. So talking about how chests work is going to be our next tip for you guys. All actual bosses are guaranteed to drop a chest. So actual bosses typically spawn on this map specifically at like the 5-minute intervals at 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 minutes. Bosses will spawn, and with those bosses, you get an actual guaranteed chest. So you know you're going to get one, but with the highlighted enemies, because there will be multiple highlighted bats throughout the run, you get a chance for a chest to drop, and it's a decent chance, I believe, and it's affected by your luck stat. So if you happen to get an item that increases your luck, or you're upgrading stuff in between runs and you upgrade your luck, it's more likely that you get a chest. So how chests work is there's a few little nuances here. So first thing first, you walk up to it, makes a fun noise, you get ready to open it, and you go, oh, wow, this is cool. It's like you're playing slots in Vegas, kind of, not really. But essentially, when you open a chest, it will either contain 1 item, 3 items, or 5 items. Obviously, how many you get is dependent on luck, RNG. Your luck stat increases your chances of finding a better chest, but by default, it's just completely RNG. Finding a 5-item chest is extremely rare. 3 is less common, but not like super rare. And then 1 item is guaranteed minimum. The item you will find in the chest will always be an item you already have. So all of the items in the game can be upgraded. And whatever items you have, like if I open this chest, it is guaranteed to be something that we have here. And it'll just give us an extra upgrade for that item. Instead of having to level up to actually upgrade it, you'll get one from the chest. Now, the only nuance for chests is, and this will take me to my next tip. I thought I was going to do this as the last tip, but this is kind of flowing correctly. So certain weapons can be upgraded to a legendary, upgraded is the wrong word, can be evolved to a legendary version of that weapon. In order to evolve a weapon, you have to get that weapon max to its max potential, which is upgrade level 8, and you have to have the correct passive item in the bottom row that matches up with said weapon. Now on the screen here is going to be a list of these passives and actual weapons. So what weapon you need and what passive you need. The passive does not need to be fully evolved, leveled up. But the weapon does need to be fully upgraded. So the passive item could just be tier 1. You haven't upgraded it at all. But if your weapon is the level 8, fully upgraded, and you find a chest, after the 10-minute mark, you will evolve your weapon. It is guaranteed. After the 10-minute mark with a chest, with a weapon that is level 8, and the correct passive item, then you will evolve it to a legendary version that is much better and overall just usually a pretty huge increase. So I'm not going to talk about which ones are really good or really bad because I think it's fun to experiment with that on your own. But this is an example of what opening a chest looks like. It'll scroll. If you get tired of the animation, you can right click or press escape and it will just skip to the end. Then you get some gold with it, which is good for obviously upgrading, things in between runs and what have you. But as you can see, we got Tome. We already have Tome. Makes sense. All checks out. Bada bing, bada boom. So there's chests and how they work as one of the next tips for you. Now the next one, and I think this is a pretty big one for a first run or all of your early runs in the game, and that is don't try to kill enemies. Most weapons in the game are going to do their own thing regardless of how you move, where you go, what you're doing. So let the weapons do the work. Don't be trying to position yourself correctly and like, oh, if I just put myself here, then we're going to have a better chance. No. Your goal, if you're trying to, get as far as you can, should be to just get XP as often as possible. So let the weapons do the work, and you try to take every single opportunity you can to grab any kind of XP that you can possibly find. So try to get as much XP as you can. Obviously, you want to avoid taking damage as often as possible, but you still want to be trying to grab XP because falling behind in levels is the easiest way to lose. Upgrades are extremely important, and making sure you get as many as possible means you need to be picking up as much XP as you possibly can. So that's just a complete tip on its own right there, is don't try to kill enemies. Let the weapons do the work and just farm XP. That's all you want to be doing for early runs, is just farming XP. Now, as you can see here, I've been trying to farm XP and it hasn't gone super well. We're kind of low on health, so what can you do about this? Well, there is a recovery stat that you can level up in between runs, but it's very slow and, does not involve any delicious meats. And no, I'm not talking about the meats in between my legs. I'm talking about floor chicken, which is an item in the game that you can find by, and like I said, this is an example of where this guide is very specifically for like early runs, because this only applies to this map, because every map has a different way to get floor chicken, but it's usually with a breakable such as these torches. So these torches have a chance to drop gold. As you can see, they have a chance to drop some power-up items, and they also have a chance to drop floor chicken. Now, the chance of you getting floor chicken is affected by the luck stat. So if you find the clover, which is an item that increases your luck, then you have a better chance of finding floor chicken and power-ups as opposed to just gold inside of these torches. So finding those torches is a good way to help yourself, get that health back. And if you find you're trying to get all this XP and you find yourself super low on health and you're like, I need health, I need to prioritize this, just go looking for torches. They will spawn randomly all over the map all the time. So there will constantly be torches for you to find, and a good chance, I don't know the exact numbers, but it feels like about, on average, 1 out of every 5 to 6 torches on average will have some chicken. So it shouldn't be too long before you find a heal. And that is the next tip that I wanted to talk about, was what torches are, what they can drop, what they do. All the power-ups that they drop are useful in their own way, some more useful than others. I'm not going to go through each individual one, because once again, I feel like that's something that's just, fun to experiment with and figure out on your own. And this is a video for like things that might be kind of confusing, or you don't know exactly what to do or where to go. So that's what this video is trying to help with. And the last one, which we can now show, this is all led, I thought I was gonna have to do some cuts, we're not gonna have to do any, is we're at the 5-minute mark, which is when the first boss spawns. And in the Mad Forest, when bosses spawn, the majority of the time, you get a ring of these flowers here, and you might be thinking, oh my god, I now have to, wow, sorry, this is the rarest weapon in the game. I now have to fight in an arena, and there's a giant boss, which is this praying mantis guy over here that's going to be chasing me. Well, here's a tip for you. If you get in trouble, which can very much happen, typically more around the 10-minute mark you might be in trouble, these flowers right here, and this is a good tip for the entirety of the Mad Forest, because you'll encounter these flowers later, do very little damage. It's not a trap. If you're in trouble and you're like, oh, I need to get out, just walk through them. Just walk right through them. They do 0 damage. They don't hurt at all. And I've seen multiple people on their new runs think, and I did it too, I was like, oh my god, I'm stuck in here. I have to kite super well. This has to be amazing, or else I'm going to be in trouble. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Just run through the flowers. They do so little damage. Every other enemy in the game, we'll give you an example. If I try to run through these, that's what happens. The flowers, however, are a different story. So that's something a pretty important tip, I think, for your first run and first few runs for the Mad Forest, is understanding that. And those are my biggest tips and biggest things that I would have liked to know before my first run, is stop trying to kill enemies. Just go for XP and let the weapons do the work for you. Torches are how you get chicken and other useful items. So, it's good to occasionally go out of your way to break some torches. Chests, how exactly chests work and what the heck I'm supposed to be looking for with chests and upgraded items and whatnot. The flowers, being able to run through those, obviously. And then, of course, which weapons are upgraded by which passives is something that's nice to know going into the game. So hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Like I said, just something really quick to help some new players and whatnot. But thank you guys so much for the support, as always. Like I said, be sure to check those links down below. Hit the subscribe button. There's going to be plenty of content coming your way soon. So make sure you turn on notifications. It would mean a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. But otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for the support. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.